Hello, everybody, hello. I'm Sean, this is Kyle, this is a Copy That, Copy Squad crossover episode. You guys know me, I've worked writing for money for about 20 plus years at this point, freelance, in-house, I've run businesses, I have my own offers, I've done the whole gamut of things. I've written for everything from multi-million dollar financial promos to scented candles. I've done it all, and so you guys know what I've done over the course of my career. Kyle, and I'll let him give his cred reel.
Hey, what's up, Copy Squad? Kyle Milligan. Over the course of my career, I've gone from junior writer to staff to senior to copy chief. I've trained probably hundreds of writers at this point, worked on hundreds of projects. I've taken several writers to their first $1 million promotion. I've made a millionaire out of a junior writer that worked for me. Now I work on an agency where I serve clients in mostly the financial publishing space, writing their promotions.
And one of the common questions that we very frequently get is, if you had to start over knowing what we know now, what would we do if we had to begin completely again, especially now in 2025, knowing what we know?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was, just like most people first starting out, running to anybody that would have me. Just, here's my offer, can I write for you? Here's my offer, can I write for you? I took on any project that would come my way. And one of the key mistakes that I kept making over and over again is what I will now term right now the Captain Save-A-Ho problem, where you find this terrible project, this dilapidated mess, and the client sees you are willing, and if you were lucky as me, I had a good resume, I had all this success under my belt, and they see me and they say, you can fix this, you can save it, and here, do your magic. Use the copy to fix this terrible offer to an unknown market where just like we don't know who we're talking to or why anyone would want this, but you have the copy goo and you can make it work. So just do it. Do it, copy magician. Do it, copy monkey. Go dance and fix it. And I would say, yes. I would take as a challenge, nobody else, as a point of pride, nobody else could make this work, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to be the one to finally pull this offer off of the pole and take it into a nice suburbia lifestyle where it can have a picket fence and 2.5 children and a dog, and it no longer has to shake it for dollar bills anymore. And I thought I would save all these offers and all these problems. What I learned is that you have to be ruthless about your criteria for a project selection. You have to know your area of expertise. You have to be completely well-versed in where have I been successful before? You have to be super self-aware of well, wait, all the projects where I did make the millions of dollars for the sales, if I made $1 million in sales, or I generated XYZ revenue or had this many people show up to an event, what did those things have in common? And oftentimes you'll start to see these patterns emerge. And what you have to do is take note of them. Be vigilant. And when you are interviewing or asking for a job, remember that you're also interviewing the client. Not, what do you have for me? How can I serve you? That is good. It's good to want to be helpful and want to serve the client. But you don't want to be taking on their projects. You want to be trying to find areas where you can specifically deliver outsized value. This is how you get referrals. This is how you get repeat business, where you knock it out of the park and they say, can you please come back and do that again? So I think, and I've just coined this for the first time ever, the Captain Save-A-Ho problem. The biggest mistake that I made, hands down, was using my, it went to my head, using my experience and my resume to say that I can fix any problem for anybody because I have worked in these specific rooms or on these specific offers. And instead, when I started saying, no, you don't have this sorted out, you don't have this kind of track record, you don't have this kind of system, you don't have these sort of repeatable uniform results, you haven't really fleshed out your strategy, Mr. Client, I don't think that I can actually deliver for you until you get these ducks in a row. I'm sorry, let's follow up and talk then.
Okay, if I had to start over, looking back on the mistakes that I made early in my career, especially in the beginning, I was a freelance writer like from high school and college, and I would just pick up any sort of content writing job, but I would specifically try to target the ones that sort of, how should I say, suited or fulfilled some artsy, fartsy, like, wanting to be like around bands and around writers and stuff like that. And so I would only take content writing projects that I felt aligned with my overall goals of like trying to be a writer or trying to be an artist. And ultimately, by doing that, I put on the horse blinders and prevented myself from ever taking on jobs or even looking for jobs or gigs that would allow me to work with, like, say, businesses or for, entrepreneurs or for other individuals that like wanted to make money. I was like averse to money at that time. I was just like, okay, pay me a few pennies for writing this review about Coachella or whatever, and I was happy to do it. And really what I should have done was understand that the writing that's out there in the world, whether it's content or sales copy, it serves a business purpose. And that ultimately, if your writing is not bringing in clicks, bringing in engagement, making other people money directly or indirectly, your writing sucks. It doesn't matter how good your prose is. It doesn't matter how artfully you've constructed this profile of an artist or whatever. If it's not making the publication money, if it's not doing the thing the publication needs to survive, well, that writing gig is going to go away, because obviously if they're publishing your artsy fartsy stuff, they're not going to survive for very long. And so what I should have done way earlier in my career was develop that business sense, that understanding of what types of writing businesses need, not only to survive, but also to grow. Because if you can get on the growth side of any business, whether you're producing content or sales copy, you are ultimately going to be rewarded for the things that you do. And it took me a really long time to recognize that. So that's the big takeaway, which is get on the growth side of copywriting. Get on the, get away from the, oh, we're just putting out writing to put out writing kind of stuff, or making art for art's sake kind of stuff. Get away from that. Get into the no. The thing that drives the world, the thing that makes the world move is money. And money takes on many forms in our world, whether it's likes, engagement, clicks, but especially sales. And if you can do that for a business, you have a really good career ahead of you. And then you can do the artsy fartsy stuff later.
Okay, I got one more. And this I think will resonate for all of you entrepreneur types, shiny object types. For me, when I got into copywriting very early on, I wanted to be a copy chief, or at the very least, independent. When given the choice to commit to a specific copy team or even a specific copy chief, I always wanted to keep my options open. I wanted the ability to pick from whatever project, copy chief, team, anything, and that actually ended up hurting me in the early days. I would say probably around the middle days, because in the early days I was forced to work with one copy chief, and as soon as I got the ability to break out of that, I took it. However, looking back now, there were things that I gave up or sacrificed by not being loyal to one team or one chief, which was their loyalty back to me. As a freelancer, which I was a floater at Agora Financial, it was a lot less easy to trust me as a copywriter that I would be there for the next project and the next project, because by my very nature of wanting to be a freelancer, I wanted the most lucrative project. I wanted to choose where the money was going, and therefore people did not necessarily want to invest in me as much as I would have liked them to. And this ended up costing me opportunities, and I didn't know that until later on down the line as a copy chief myself. Now I understand the value of being a strategic partner with a publisher or with a specific copy chief or guru, because the relationship that you develop and deepen there actually makes, it's like a skill tree where you unlock new opportunities, you unlock new skills, techniques. I was reviewing a James Altucher promo just a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this dude who wrote this promo totally missed this thing about James, this thing about James, this thing about James. If I had been the copywriter on that, I could have written that stuff because I had such a deep level of professional, like we had worked together on so many projects, or I'd followed him long enough that I was like, I could actually do a better job here. So one of the things that I think everybody, I was like 90-10, copywriters want all this freedom and independence. And I'm telling you, especially for the first minimum year to 2 years, I wish I'd have taken a second year and done this. I would have stuck to the team, I'd have deepened relationships, and I'd have got more reps under my belt with a mentor before I tried to break out and be an entrepreneur and be a freelancer and do my own thing. Having now gone through all this and seeing it from all sides of this dynamic, I can tell you, having gone through every angle of this now, it is definitely something that probably hurts more than helps a lot of copywriters trying to get their start out there.
If I had to restart, sort of reflecting, especially on the early years of my like sales copy, but also my entrepreneurship career, and if I had to start over again, one thing that I know that I would do differently now is I would not hire so soon. I would be way more judicious and careful about the deals that I made. I definitely hired people sort of like out the gate for a couple of agencies that I started, a couple of copy projects. Like I felt the overwhelms of like all the stuff that was sort of like weighing down on me early in my career as I like quickly grew, but then grew too quickly for me to handle on my own. I was so eager to try to hire, to sort of delegate things away. But by rushing that, by choosing, trying to get, people into the seats then rather than like getting the right person in the seat, it ended up costing me, if I had to tabulate, probably around $400,000. That it was a very, very costly multi-year mistake that I made, getting the wrong people into the seats that I needed the right people in. And I've since pared down and really focus on processes and making sure that my life is a little bit more manageable, and that I'm also a little bit more judicious about hiring people and testing people in the freelance way first before giving them more in-house roles and opportunities and things like that. I've learned my lesson, but if I had to start over again, man, a lot of people reach out to me being like, I want to start an agency. And they can't even write copy yet. They're trying to start an agency. The only reason they want to start an agency is so that they can hire other people to do the work for them. And what I'm telling you from my experience is that you will spend more money than you bring in if you hire the wrong people. And you will hire the wrong people if you yourself are not already good enough to recognize what is good. So definitely be cautious about that.
I think the common theme in all of these lessons is with maturity comes selectivity. Whether you're selecting the right hires and how to delegate, whether you're selecting the right clients, or whether you're selecting the right team or chiefs to get mentorship from.
Or even the right kind of copy to write.
Project selection. It's as you get older, and yes, there is a sort of curse of knowledge or benefit that we are able to have a certain level of selectivity, and some people will think, well, easy for you to say.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I went through the same anxiety when I told the first client, I'm sorry, but unless you can give me this, I can't work with you. And then they said, okay, I'll get that for you. And then the next client, I said, hey, if you have a project that includes this available, I can work for you in June. Will that work for you? And they said yes. And then the next client that came to me said, can we work together? And I said, here's how it's going to go. I need you to do this, and this. And it still shocked me, as many times as I'd done it, even after the third time, that the more certain and assertive I was with what I needed to get started, the more they trusted me. Mm-hmm. When I was more, I was like, do I sound like a jerk to my ops manager? This seems very assertive. Is it too assertive? Mm-hmm. And it turned out the response that I got from that client was the best response I got, which was whew, thank God, a professional who knows what he's doing. Here's everything you asked for.
Yes.
So why I'm sharing that with you is because on one hand, this is a mindset shift of like, yeah, easy for Sean and Kyle to say. You guys have already built the credibility and are able to make these demands. But even I was shocked that when I came in and said, this is how I do business, and I'd heard it in all the YouTube videos, I've seen all the gurus say it, but when I firsthand experienced the response that I got, which was so much better, that I was like, I wish I had started doing this sooner.
If I had to start over, one other thing that I would try to do differently, especially knowing what I know now, this one has more to do with mindset, which is very simply understanding that the world of business and the world of money is so abundant. You know, my background is weird, but I grew up in relative poverty for a large portion of my upbringing, and I had such a scarcity mindset. I had such a belief that, like, you know, all the money was getting taken up and like it was wrong for me to ask for more money or to go for more money or for things like that. But as I've gotten older and wiser and also gotten more into the world of business, it is so not only acceptable but good to go for more money, to ask for more money, to basically understand that the market, there's all sorts of price points that can be tolerated, and that ultimately you don't want to limit yourself to only asking for the bare fucking minimum amount of money. You want to understand the value that you can bring and the value that you can bring to people with money who can pay you. And now, one of the things that I have learned is that you should never undercharge for the things you have to offer. I mean, Copy That is different. Like our whole shtick is like give away the best stuff for as little money as possible because our business model is a little bit different. But in my own personal life, in my business and in the other products that I sell and in my services, I'm always willing to go for that highest tier of clients because I know the results that I can give. I know the potential that I have. And I know that not only is there the money out there, but money replenishes itself. It sounds woo-woo and weird and like, you know, like manifestation-y and kind of shit like that. But like now that I've seen it, it is absolutely real. Money attracts money. And people with a lot of money don't want to work with people that are asking for like $20 for a project. Somebody with a lot of money, a business with a lot of money, they want to pay somebody $100,000 for a project. A business with a lot of money wants to pay you $20,000 plus commissions if what you're writing can pay them 10x what you are asking for.
Imagine it like this. You've worked your whole life as a copywriter, and you all of a sudden break out and find success, and you're bringing in the big commission checks. The royalty checks are just flowing. You're bringing in 6 figures every month or two. You know, results may vary. But so let's say this happens to you. What do? You go to the Lamborghini dealership, right? And what do you say? I worked really hard. I got all this money. Give me the flashiest, most expensive, best performance Lamborghini that you got on the lot. It's not much different from what Sean is saying. Yeah. Sean not recently, but not too long ago, bought a laptop. His laptop crapped out, wanted a new one. He went to Best Buy. He said, I've done it, I've made it, I need a laptop now. Give me the best, highest performance laptop you have in here. There are companies that when they reach a certain echelon of success, they have the same mentality. We don't want to work with any copywriter that DM'd us on Instagram. Yeah. We want to work with the most expensive, best, highest performance copywriter in the game. Yeah. And when you start thinking of it like that, then you'll realize like these guys penny pinching you aren't your people. They're not growing. They're not going to be long-term successful clients if they're, you know, they're hemming and hawing over $20 or something on the contract. Yeah. Like, you'll start to draw these distinctions, and a big part of this is action and practice and reps. Mm-hmm. The more of these sort of reference experiences you garner, the more you'll see the reality of the things that Sean and I are sharing with you today. Yep.
So that was it. That was, I think, 6 things that we would do over again and differently if we were starting over today, knowing what we know now. hopefully that was helpful for you. Leave a comment if you're like, no, that was not helpful at all. Why are you still talking, Sean? Shut up. Anyway, thanks for watching the video.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea about the comment thing.